The year is 1774. The colonists of Boston have just completed the Boston Tea Party. In response, the British Parliament began planning a new set of rules to punish the colonists of Boston and Massachusetts, who so dared to attack the East India Trading Company. This new set of rules? The Coercive Acts.
Okay, first things first, coercive. Relating to or using force or threats. Based on the meaning of that word, we can infer that whatever the British were planning, they were going to use force. Accordingly, the colonists called them the Intolerable Acts. Whatever they were not going to be good for the colonists. The first act, the Boston Port Act. This act was mainly targeted at the colonists of Boston. The British saw it as a good way to starve and scare the Bostonians into good behavior and to pay off the East India Trading Company. This green box is Boston. This act closed Boston Harbor. Only food and firewood was allowed into the colony, meaning that the Bostonians only had the bare necessities. This act also banned all non-British approved town meetings. You can guess how happy the colonists were about that. The next act, the Massachusetts Government Act and the Murder Act. This act was mainly targeted at the colony of Massachusetts. This is Thomas Hutchinson. He is the governor of Massachusetts. He was rejected and replaced by William Connington, the new governor of Massachusetts. William Connington had rights that Thomas Hutchinson did not. For example, according to the Murder Act, he could send any trial to Britain. This was an issue because British officers who did bad things were not convicted guilty as often, and anti-British propagandists were always convicted guilty.
Basically, if the new governor wanted a colonist arrested, the colonists would be arrested. For the colonists, this was unfair because they had even less control over themselves. Patriots thought that the British were just exercising their power. The British thought that they were just restoring justice in the colonies. All the colonists saw that the British were interrupting their mercantilism, which means trade. Would this be the last straw before armed conflict? From the Patriots' perspective, the cause was British oppression and the effect was colonist rebellion. The Loyalists wanted to stay with Britain, but they did want more rights than just the normal civil liberties. They wanted the rights of full-fledged English citizens. They also wanted economic independence, meaning that they did not want to have to rely on Britain to have a stable economy. Based on historical evidence, the colonists did have the right to rebel. The taxation without representation gave Britain the benefits of having more citizens, but did not give the colonists the right of normal English citizens. The colonists did not rebel because they didn't want to pay their taxes, but rebelled because they wanted to get the rights that went along with those taxes. If they hadn't rebelled, they would not have gotten those rights, and therefore they would have continued to be enslaved to the British monarchy, and they would not have been the United States of America that we know today. They made the right choice.